Today we're talking about renting versus buying.
So obviously it's Jay and I's job to sell real estate. However, we recognize that not everybody is able to purchase a home, which is why we thought it'd be beneficial to go over renting.
Okay, so let's hit the rent side. Obviously, we've hammered on videos of the buy side. When is it an advantage to rent? So let's say you just took a job here at Texas Tech, you've signed for a year or two. We don't know if we're gonna be here, in 3 years.
Who knows?
This is one where I've had a lot of clients come in. I said, guys, it's probably just better to rent. Because again, we have to give that house time to appreciate. If we're gonna purchase, they turn around and sell in a year. Well, the market may appreciate, but it may not appreciate to cover selling costs, and then we're gonna be upside down. We don't wanna put somebody in that situation. Typically what I say is if you're gonna be in this home 3 to 5 years, and we know that you're gonna be, it's solidified, that's when we typically start turning that corner and looking more at a purchase rather than a rent, because that gives that market time to appreciate and kind of create that equity that when you go to sell, break even and get your money out of it, or even make a little bit of money. So 3 to 5 years, if you're committed to it for that long, that's kind of when I encourage a buy rather than a rent. But again, if you're gonna be here for a year, it probably doesn't make sense for you to go ahead and purchase.
Right.
Find you a good rental. Even if you spend a little bit more for something nicer, you're gonna be happy with that rental, I think, on a short-term basis.
I concur. That's the key. If it's short-term, probably better to rent. Anywhere from 3 to 5 years, like Jaden was just saying, that's when you want to start looking at buying, because some of the benefits of buying are if you buy a house and you're going to own it long term, well, you're going to be building equity in that house over a long period of time. I mean, a house for a lot of people is the biggest investment that they will ever make. So it's important to know, okay, if I save up this amount of money, maybe while I'm renting, and then can afford to put a down payment on a house, get a loan at $150,000 or whatever, if you're buying a $185,000 house, $175,000 house, and then pay that off over 30 years. I mean, you're gonna be building equity in your home. So another thing that makes renting a lot of times more attractive than buying a house is the fact that you're not gonna be having to do the maintenance on your apartment. You're not gonna be having to take care of the yard outside of your apartment or even your house if you have a property manager managing it. So that can really sell people into renting as opposed to buying, because there's a lot less responsibility involved with that, which is good and bad.
Yeah, completely. So to play devil's advocate on the other side, let's say the purchase route makes more sense. There's things we can do to mitigate some of that risk. Let's say, your hot water heater, your HVAC, those are things we worry about going out. So what we do on the buying side for our end, we negotiate in a home warranty, which if you are ready to make that jump and that is a worry you have on the buy side, yes, it's very easy on the rent side to just make it someone else's problem. And if that fits your lifestyle, awesome.
Wow.
If you're looking to take that jump and buy, a home warranty is one of those things that we use to mitigate that. And what a home warranty is, let's say your hot water heater goes out, you pay, and prices vary, but let's say it's $500 a year, and your hot water heater goes out, you call that company, they send a plumber, there's usually a service charge involved, usually 70 to 100 bucks, and they'll come out and repair or replace that broken hot water heater. So that's one of the ways on the buy side that we kind of help alleviate a little bit of that risk of having maintenance.
Right, because it's essentially kind of like you have bought a maintenance manager.
Exactly.
For usually 650 bucks a year?
Yeah, it varies. It varies to the coverage you have, but as low as $500 for the year, and then it goes upwards for add-ons and how much coverage you want. But it's always a smart thing, and a lot of people don't know in a real estate transaction, it's negotiated in. Seller pays, or at least in Texas, seller's going to pay for your first year home warranty, and it just adds a little bit of insurance, makes you feel good about things could go out.
Yep, safer investment.
Absolutely.
So one thing about Lubbock is because there's a lot of college students here, we have a very strong rental market. So let's say you do buy a house, you can always move out and rent it out here, and there's always going to be renters that are going to be willing to move in. Just because we've got tech, we've got the hospitals, people are always willing to come in and out, and they don't know how long they're going to be here, especially if they're going to school, so it may be a year or two. They're not, like we had kind of started with, they may not want to buy a house because it doesn't make sense. So there is a strong rental market here, and you're always going to have opportunities to be a landlord if you so choose.
Yeah, so I think it's a double-sided coin, like you were saying. If you are looking to make that purchase but maybe not committed long-term, that's an option I see with a lot of my clients of, hey, we want to buy a house. let's say it's a $150,000 house. We can, of course, while we're living there, that fits our budget. But let's say we take a job in Minnesota.
Ooh,
yeah.
Minnesota.
We put it up for rent, and then you have a renter paying your mortgage, creating that equity here in Lubbock while you're off in Minnesota. So it's a strategy a lot of people go with, and to think long term, it's always, we always have options, and that's one people use a lot.
So I think we need to kind of outline who renting is for. So we've kind of hit a common theme has been time and your time frame. If you're 19 years old and you're going to school, probably not the best idea for you to buy right now. You need to be building your credit, spending time, growing up a little bit if you're 19, and then considering buying maybe 4 or 5 years down the road. If you're, in your late 20s, mid to late 20s, you're starting a family, you just got a new job, then it's time to consider buying because you have enough money for a down payment, you have a lot to look forward to, and if you have a family, it's probably gonna grow and you want them to be in a place that you own ideally. So thank you guys so much. We hope this was informative, and we will catch you on the next one.